we're quickly running out of time here, but I want to talk about this one because Kat has sort of weighed in on this one a little bit. And you're an immigrant to this country. So I want your viewpoint on this. Guilty as charged, came in the front door, didn't sneak in the back. Michelle Rumpel-Garner, who I think has, like she was a rising star in the Conservative Party, and then we had two really bad leaders. And so she sort of got backburnered. And now she's her usual self again. She's an economist by trade, by the way. So she's really great on how the intersection of immigration and unconstrained immigration and the economy. And actually, if memory serves me correctly, this is an issue that has been repeatedly raised in the Chinese expat community in and around Kenny Chu's former riding and Alice Wong's former riding in British Columbia. And so conservatives want to end birthright citizenship for people who are temporary foreign workers, temporary foreign students, who come here and then magically have a baby. And then all of a sudden they use their infant child who is now a citizen in Canada just by virtue of being born in a hospital here or just on our soil, or even in our airway, like in the sky above Canada. And then they sponsor the rest of the family to come here. The baby does it. And it was quite a scam happening in some hospitals in the Lower Mainland. And I remember, I think it was maybe 2018, 2019, I forget which Conservative convention it was at, but it was I think it was Kenny Chu's, maybe it was Alice Wong's riding in the Lower Mainland of BC, Richmond area, correct me, Drea. But it was largely a Chinese Canadian-led initiative saying, we have hospitals in our area where the majority of babies are being born to foreign nationals coming here to get around these rules. And we need something to do. We need to do something about it because that's not how we did it. That's not how we got here. And we've got actually a clip that Kat cut. Former Liberal Immigration Minister Mark Miller says conservatives want to end birthright citizenship in order to whip up sentiment against people who weren't born in Canada. Let's watch this, and then I want to go to Kat, because do you feel like we're whipping up something against you?
Pardon me?
We asked you about birthright citizenship, and Conservative MP Michelle Rumpel-Garner says we should get rid of it.
Get rid of it entirely.
Yes.
I mean,
before a motion of the Immigration Committee.
I think the Constitution would disagree with her, and the court cases related to birthright citizenship. The odd thing about the Citizenship Act is we've never had a coherent definition of citizenship. So there is some discussion around whether you can pass on citizenship ad nauseum and with no connection to Canada. The current bill that's before the House proposes a cutoff that I think is rational, but simply to say that cut off birthright citizenship is wrong. It means potentially my kids wouldn't have citizenship. If it were retroactive, their kids wouldn't have it, even if they had a connection to Canada. So it's a little ridiculous. I think there's something behind it that she can speak to eventually. It's perhaps populist to whip up sentiment against people that weren't necessarily born here.
Kat, do you feel that we've whipped up sentiment against you?
Absolutely not. That is just a ridiculous thing, something pretty typical of a liberal to say, to completely dismiss the legitimate concerns. When Michelle Rumpel-Garner brought up that point during question period, she was basically saying there are over 3 million temporary residents in Canada, and many of them are abusing this loophole. And all she was saying is we need to end the birthright citizenship for those people when there's not a parent that is holding either citizenship or permanent resident status in Canada. So I absolutely don't feel discriminated against at all. I don't feel any sentiment against me. I feel more Canadian than ever. I have a Canadian passport. I'm a Canadian citizen. So no, obviously she was talking about the program being completely abused by, the people that you mentioned that come here to just have babies and sponsor, I don't know, 30 more family members to come here. And use the benefits that Canada offers to buckle our healthcare system, education system, the housing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just they have no talking points, so they have to say something ridiculous to try and counter a legitimate concern brought up by the Conservatives.
Yeah, and we just saw him go to like the most outlandish thing. Well, then maybe my kids won't be citizens. Well, why would you say that? That's not what we're talking about. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. I'll go to Chris and no, actually, I'll go to Drea. I haven't let you have a word in a while, and I'm very sorry for that. Go ahead, Drea.
No, that's okay. Well, you're right about where this is birthed, the Richmond sort of area. And I did report on this years ago now, so my memory's a little bit foggy, but I remember interviewing, people from Hong Kong and Chinese Canadians, and they were saying, this is ridiculous. The government, according to them, Beijing is promoting this activity to happen. I wonder why. So it's like it's a total Trojan horse. And the fact that years later, we still have not gone ahead and taken care of this is just another sign of a massive failure of the Liberal government.
Yeah. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I missed the part of that. I cut out for a minute, but it's interesting the way Mark Miller answers the question and the deflection. It reminds me of the time me and Right Blend were talking to him, and asking him real legitimate questions about his policy, and his reaction to Right Blend was to turn and say, "You don't like immigrants." So if you even question anything about this, at least for me, the immediate turnaround is, "Oh, shut up, racist." We actually interestingly had a talk with him about that. We were able to confront him a bit, and he kind of maybe agreed that wasn't the best approach, but he wasn't willing to do that on camera, and that's a little bit small and a little bit late, I think.
Let's go to something fun before we get to the chat. And if this is I'm staying in BC. I was gonna trot out the horrible Alberta Senator Chris Wells talking to a British Columbian MP who used to be a terrible NDP MLA in Alberta, but I'll leave that for another time. They were talking about transing the grandparents, making sure they have gender affirmative care. And I'm like, they can't get hip surgery. Like, what are you doing? But anyways, just a bunch of crazy people wasting our time and money.